I did not expect walking to help me lose over 30 pounds. And when I learned these things that I'm going to share with you in this video, it changed everything for me. And I wish I would have known these sooner because it would have helped me get there a lot quicker and saved me a lot of time. So I'm going to share these 7 things with you, which I wish I knew before I started walking, which would have helped me on my journey. And if you're new here, my name's Coco. I talk all things fitness, self-development, and wellness. And I'm also a registered nurse, so you might as well subscribe and join the tribe. And also, if you're new to walking or you've started walking, let me know down in the comments what your fitness goals are, and we are going to make sure that we make this happen together. And also make sure to like this video if you're ready to get in the best shape of your life and reach your goals, your fitness goals, and get to your dream body, because we're going to make it happen. Okay. So, getting right into it, one of the first things that I wish I knew before I started walking was that walking counts as cardio just as much as any other cardio. Okay. When we hear this debate over whether a treadmill is the best for cardio, or whether riding a bike is, or whether elliptical or running, they are all forms of cardio. And if you ask me, walking is one of the best forms of cardio you can do. Why? Because you're not stressing yourself out. You're not doing something that feels horrible in the moment. For me, walking feels good all the time. It's a natural thing that we do. Like, we walk in the kitchen, we walk in our house, we walk to the car. Like, you're always walking. It's a natural thing, right? But we might not walk as much, and we're not seeing it as cardio because it's like we're not sweating profusely and things like that, but it is definitely a form of cardio. And so I had to realize that just because I'm not sweating, just because I'm not huffing and puffing, does not mean that walking does not count. I don't think that walking gets enough credit. It's not glamorized. If you're running, you get all these kudos like, oh my gosh, how many miles did you run? What's your pace? Or if you're on the Stairmaster, how long can you stay on the Stairmaster? Like, wow, you're so amazing for doing that. And like, seeing people sweating, like, that means that's the elite form of cardio. 300 calories is 300 calories. So for me, I had to realize that and get away from this glamorization of certain forms of cardio. And if there's any type of difference with those, it would be that one form gets your heart rate up really, really high, and the other is like low, steady state cardio. The other is high intensity, so your heart rate's a lot higher. That's going to get you to burn those calories quicker. But for me, when I do high intensity interval training, then that's where I notice that I'm hungrier after the workout. Now I've tapped into my glycogen stores during that workout. So now I've tapped into those carbs, and now I'm really hungry because my heart rate was super high during the whole workout. Versus when I walk, I'm at like steady state cardio. My heart rate is lower, so I'm still burning the calories, but I'm not stressing my body as much. Like, I'm not spiking my cortisol levels. I'm doing it at this steady state, and it feels good, and it's still getting the job done. So that's something that I wish I knew sooner, is just that just because we don't hear about walking as much, it's not glamorized, it doesn't seem like it is really tough thing to do. And I think a lot of times I feel like certain cardio gets more kudos and more credit, but walking is cardio and it gets the job done. Okay. And that brings me to my next point, which is I also had to realize that as long as I was walking, then that was the most important thing, as opposed to being concerned with the pace. Because when it comes to that, again, with the pace, of course, if I'm walking faster, I'm going to get to the calories quicker. Versus if I'm walking at a slower pace, then it's going to take me a longer time. If I'm walking really fast, then maybe I'll get to 300 calories at an hour, right? But if I'm walking very, very slow, then it'll be a couple of hours, right? Just understanding that I didn't have to focus on the pace as much, and instead just focus on getting my steps in, having maybe a calorie goal for what I wanted to burn. But as long as I reach that, then I don't need to focus on having this super fast pace to get there quicker. And for me, what it really boiled down to was time. If I have a lot of time today, then in that case, then I can walk slower, right? I can kind of use that time as I'll go walk to a coffee shop. I'll go walk and run my errands, right? I'll make it kind of just a part of my day. But if I'm short on time, then in that case, I will speed up my pace, right? I will probably go to the gym and put it on an incline. So just kind of factoring in and looking at like, what do I have time for today? And that's kind of how I always have looked at it. No 2 days are the same. If I'm pressed for time more on one day, then that day is when I'll go on the incline and I'll walk for 30 minutes and then just get my steps throughout the rest of the day. Or if I just have a lot of time, then I'll stay on the treadmill for like 2 hours, or I'll go to the park and walk for an hour and a half, just whatever kind of works. And then also just breaking it up to where I'll go maybe run errands and use that as getting my steps in and walking. So really just understanding that like, I had to tailor it to me and what works for me. So not saying, well, I can't, how am I going to get 10,000 steps in one sitting and one go? If I can't do that, then I will break it up in the morning, break it up in the evening. If I don't have that much time, then I will put an incline up and then I walk at a quick pace and then walk with an incline. So just doing what works for me and tweaking it to my schedule and my life and what is most realistic. And then the next thing that I wish I knew before was that there are walking pads. And when I discovered this was one of the most amazing things to me because, again, when it comes to the weather, when it comes to having access to a gym or being in a walkable city or being somewhere near a park, it's not always feasible. That's not always the case. Sometimes you might not live in an area that's very walkable. Sometimes there might not be a park that's very close by in walking distance. Sometimes the weather might just not be working in your favor. It might be raining a lot in your city. It might be really, really cold and you don't want to walk in that type of weather. Or it might be extremely hot and you want to walk in that type of weather. Or perhaps the gym is not convenient. There's not like one that's nearby. So that is where my walking pad came in. And for me, that was just one of the best things that helped me on my walking journey, specifically for those days when the weather wasn't that good. The gym also being a little further away and sometimes just not being in the mood to get up and get dressed and put on my workout outfit and then get in the car and do all of this to go to the gym to walk. But having my walking pad at home that I'm just like, okay, I can literally put on like anything, be mismatching, looking crazy, but it's just me in my house on my walking pad. And so that's something that really, really helped. And I wish that I had known about sooner because then I'm like, yeah, this is definitely something that is worth investing in because again, I'm able to just roll out of bed and like, okay, I have my walking pad. And because it's so convenient, because it's so close, it's so easy, it's almost like you don't even have to think about it. It doesn't feel like a task. It just becomes like second nature and automatic. And then also for me at the time working remotely from home, that was one of the best things just for my schedule because then I was able to put it underneath my desk. And then if I'm in a meeting, just walk on the walking pad during a meeting is just one of the best hacks for getting steps in because I'm not having to type or anything, focus too much. It's just like, okay, I'm in a meeting. I can just have my laptop on, I can listen and then have my computer right there and just walk on the walking pad. Or, have it with my standing desk, I can work for a little bit and then like, okay, take a break and then just raise up the desk and then walk on my walking pad that's underneath it. So that was one of the best investments that I could say that I've made. And that's something that I wish I would have known a long time ago about because once I discovered it, I'm like, what took me so long to get this? It just was like the best thing. I don't have to worry about the weather. I don't have to worry about rushing to the gym, driving in traffic, anything like that. Just using my walking pad was one of the best hacks and something that I wish I had known earlier. And the next thing that I wish I had known earlier is just knowing that romanticizing the walks makes it so much better and so much easier. When it comes to walks, a lot of times doing that repeatedly can start to feel like, okay, mundane or, like, how do I switch it up? How do I make it something that's like really enjoyable? So for me, I romanticize it in every type of way, in a different way every time, whether it's getting a cute little new workout set, listening to a podcast on my walk, listening to a new album or soundtrack, sometimes just calling up an old friend or calling up a family member and talking to them on the walk is really one of my favorite things to do because that passes the time so, so easily. Some of my longest walks have just been calling up my sister or my mom and just talking for so long on the phone and not even realizing or thinking too much about it on my walks. And it's just a good way to decompress, to be out in nature, to talk on the phone and not really think about the fact that like I've been walking for an hour or two. The time flies by, and it's just like such a good way to kind of pair catching up with a loved one and then walking at the same time. And then another way is just like romanticizing it as well, just being out in nature and just really taking in nature and the trees, the flowers, animals, just people watching a little bit, just like really embracing it and not just kind of being on the walk like, oh, I just have to get this done. Switching that mindset from like, this is something I have to do to this is something I get to do. This is so beautiful. I get to walk, I get to just sightsee, focus on trees and the sun, just take that in, the clouds, the breeze, all of that, and just romanticize it. Another thing that I like to do is like a cute water bottle and again, maybe listen to a new album, some cute songs, and one of my favorite podcasts. So just really romanticizing it instead of making it like it's a chore, but just treating it like something that I look forward to doing. I use it to decompress at the end of the day after a long day at work. It's something that I look forward to. So it doesn't seem like, oh, I'm going to do this cardio and get it out the way, but it's something that I get to do and that I'm like excited to get to do. And then another thing that I wish I knew sooner as well is that tracking my steps would help me be consistent, like not focusing on the scale too much. Once I started tracking my steps, that is when I really locked in. Like before, I was just like, okay, like, I'll go for a walk. Maybe I'll walk for 20 minutes. But once I started tracking my steps, I am like, okay, like I am making sure that I get 10,000 steps a day. And, I use my Apple Watch so I can easily look and see, like, and I'm obsessed with it. Like, I'll look throughout the day and I'm like, okay, how many steps am I at now? I just all throughout the day. And then it makes me think, like, okay, like, how can I like close out my 10,000 steps for the day? Or like I'm at 4,000, like what else can I do? Maybe I'll walk to the store instead of ordering my groceries, or maybe I'll walk to the coffee shop, or maybe I'll walk and meet up with a friend and we can walk together. It really makes me very cognizant and it makes me very aware of where I'm at with my steps and making sure that I'm being active. So I really love the fact I wear my Apple Watch every day just to kind of track my steps and make sure that I'm on track. And then another level to that is there's ways where you can join a challenge with the Apple Watch and see your friends share your activity, and you can see friends and how many steps they're getting. If you're somebody who's competitive and that helps you even more, that's a thing. I know in my family, sometimes we'll share, we don't always share this, but sometimes we'll share like how many steps we got. And then it just becomes very motivating. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm only getting 10,000 and my brother's getting 14,000. I can step it up. And so it's a nice way to kind of motivate yourself also, just having a challenge, having someone who can be there with you. And how many steps you get today, just that extra push and kind of accountability, just having someone to be there to root you on and challenge you and encourage you and support you is really a good way as well. So that's something else that I wish I had known sooner, is just having some type of tracker to track my steps is something really good and motivating to keep me on track and keep me wanting to go and wanting to stay on track with my walk journey. Then the next thing was just with the walk journey, I wish I knew sooner that what I eat matters also. So walking is probably, again, one of the easiest forms of cardio. It's one of the easiest things to implement and I would say stay consistent with, and to really make an impact in your fitness journey. It's a really great start. But I had to realize, and I wish I knew sooner, that nutrition matters as well. Just because I'm walking does not mean that I can be scarfing down donuts and Starbucks coffee, drinks, and frappuccinos and cake and pizza and fries. Just because I'm walking does not mean that I can be doing that. So that was something that I wish I knew sooner, because for the longest time I didn't change my diet and I was just like, okay, like I'll eat whatever I want and then I'll go for my walk. Like I'll eat whatever I want and then make sure I get my steps in. Nutrition is a really big thing. So when I talk about nutrition, just my feeling and what I feel about eating is just what I really preach is just eating whole foods, because you just can't go wrong with that. And by whole foods, meaning things that are not processed, things that just occur in nature naturally. So meats, lean meats and fish and ground turkey and chicken and then eggs like broccoli and spinach, asparagus, cauliflower, carrots, just all of that, kale, just whole foods. And for me, I love to spice up my healthy food. So I will season them up, I'll make them taste good. But for the most part, my meals are going to be consist of whole foods. And don't get me wrong, like I do snack and I have healthier snacks, but I definitely snack. And so again, just making sure that for the most part I was eating whole foods was a big part of my journey. I wish I had known sooner, instead of keeping my diet the same and going on walks and wondering why am I not seeing any changes. And that's just with any type of working out. If I'm running and eating the same way, I'm also not going to meet my goals the same way that I would if I was running and eating healthy. So it's not like, oh, walking isn't enough, you should be running instead. It's nutrition matters as well. And that is when I really started to see a lot of change. Another thing that I wish I knew sooner was just that my body will change like in subtle ways before I see drastic changes. Because I know for me, I walked 10,000 steps today. So let me go look in the mirror, let me go look on the scale and see what's changed, right? But it does not work like that. It takes time, it doesn't happen overnight, and it takes being consistent. So just kind of understanding that and embracing that on the journey versus like feeling like, okay, I need to see change right now. And understanding that just also just allows the journeys just to kind of come in naturally and not feel, because feeling like it needs to happen overnight can be very discouraging, make you feel like, okay, now I just want to quit because it's not, I don't see any changes. But instead going into it like, okay, this is going to take some time, I'm not going to see changes overnight, not even in a week, not even a couple weeks, but the changes will come. And so sticking to that and understanding that helps you stick to the journey. So that's something that I wish I knew sooner as well. It's just that it takes patience, it's going to happen, but not to rush the process. So let me know down in the comments, if you started your walking journey, which of these resonates the most with you for starting your walking journey, and how many steps you usually get now and what you're aiming for to get every day. And yeah, also, again, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe, join the tribe, and like this video. And I can't wait to see you in the next one.